Starting with book 4, they changed the naming convention for this series. From now on, every title is a list of 3 things, starting with the letter M. I can't blame them for wanting catchy titles, but Magnolias and Moonlight have nothing to do with the book. Their neighborhood is called Magnolia Estates, but you'll see, Magnolias don't play a role in the story.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
This book takes place 18 months after the last one. That is a pretty big jump in time. Ellie has gone from being pregnant to planning her son's first birthday party. During the time jump, the family moved from Washington to Georgia, meaning readers can safely forget most of the characters and events from the first 3 books. Ellie's organizing business is not doing very well. She's only had 1 client all year. Her husband Mitch thinks the business should be closed since she spends a lot of her time and money on it. I'm just wondering how she has so much spare time and money. Her son is an infant and her daughter is under 4. She should be watching them, not working on her side hustle. The mystery starts when Ellie walks past the cemetery. Due to rain, one of the graves has opened up. Ellie sees 2 skulls. The culprit tried to hide a dead body inside an already occupied grave. That is gross. And as a professional organizer, Ellie probably doesn't appreciate putting 2 things in the same place. Everyone assumes the dead body belongs to Jodi Lockworth. She lived in Ellie's house until she disappeared 10 months ago. I think the author made a mistake here, because Ellie moved in 10 months ago. That means Jodi's parents put her house up for rent the same week she disappeared. It's hard to believe that, because Jodi's mom is Nita Lockworth, a pushy woman who organizes regular community meetings designed to find Jodi. The Find Jodi group is so incompetent, it's funny. They were told to put up missing girl posters all over town. Only every person decided, I'll just put them in the first place I see. So they ended up with 5 posters on the same telephone pole. I can understand 2 people putting a poster in the same spot, but 5? How did the last person not notice there are already 4 posters there? The posters were destroyed by the rain, and they got a bunch of little complaints from Coleman May. He's the head of the HOA. Coleman spends every day wandering the town, ripping up papers that don't have the correct permits and paperwork. Everyone needs a hobby, I guess. Ellie is good at organizing, so she amazes everyone with her tips for putting up posters, which are, don't put them all in the same spot. And if you put posters inside, they won't get rained on. That is impressive enough. It saves Ellie's organizing business. Everyone wants to hire the genius organizer now. 2 important people at the meeting are Scott Ezell, who hated Jodi, and Topaz Simonetti, who went to the same high school with Ellie. The police identify the skeleton as William Nash. He disappeared in 1955. I didn't count the pages or anything, but it feels like Ellie spends more time focused on the Nash mystery than the Jodi mystery. Jodi was a newspaper reporter. Ellie finds one of Jodi's notebooks taped to a drawer. Since Ellie's good at organizing, Nita hires Ellie to match Jodi's notes with the newspaper articles Jodi wrote. The idea is that only a professional organizer could determine these notes about Halloween go with the Halloween article. Scott runs a nonprofit called Stand. He hires Ellie to clean up their storage room. That means she gets free access to all their documents. She decides which ones should be kept and which ones should be destroyed. I really hope Scott double checks Ellie's work. Instead of trusting a person who knows nothing about the business will make 0 mistakes. Rumors start to spread that Nash was lynched. Coleman was the mayor back then, and people think he covered it up. But could a man who gets all uppity about misplaced flyers really be evil enough to commit racist murder? The night Jodi died, She bought items from a convenience store. The purchases make it seem like she went to Florida. The police are forced to rethink this premise when the items are found nearby. Nita hires Ellie to go through Jodi's things, which proves to be fairly irrelevant and unhelpful. News reporters swarm Ellie's house for an afternoon, and a neighbor tells the fun story of Old Man Cotner, who dumped a truck in a lake. Occasionally, the culprit targets Ellie. The culprit starts a gas leak in her house and sends a threatening text message. The culprit steals Ellie's car and sets it on fire. I don't know why the culprit is so destructive and scared of Ellie. Ellie isn't even close to solving the mystery. Mitch is promoted to major, which means they have to host a promotion party. Ellie doesn't know how to throw a simple party. She makes a bunch of lists and plans. She decides to buy 10 chairs, because people can't eat chips at a party if there are no chairs to sit in. Ellie buys chairs. By coincidence, the store owner lived next door to Nash. Ellie harps on him until he confesses he saw what happened the night Nash died. Nash was accidentally killed by a drunk driver. The murderer was Coleman's wife. She was driving drunk, and Coleman didn't want to admit his wife is alcoholic. So he disposed of the body, he dumped the car in the lake, and made up the lynching as a cover story. The police confirm that's what happened by examining the car. Apparently, the car is in perfect condition despite being at the bottom of a deep lake for over 50 years. Now that the Nash mystery is solved, the book goes back to the Jodi mystery. Her dead body is found on Scott's property. Scott looks even more guilty when Ellie disproves his alibi. His business receipts show he was not out of state like he claims. Scott confesses he lied about his alibi because he had a big job interview. He knew his bosses would be mad to learn he broke his promise not to look for other jobs. The mystery is solved when a postcard for Jodi arrives. Ellie calls the postcard sender for more information. It turns out the culprit is Topaz. She's not the real Topaz. She's a killer named Mary who stole Topaz's identity during Hurricane Katrina. She's pretended to be Topaz ever since. She killed Jodi because Jodi found out her secret. Topaz has special chandelier earrings which have keys dangling from them. That sounds extremely heavy and painful to wear. One of the keys is the key to Ellie's house. Ellie lets Topaz borrow her cell phone, which is an incredibly dumb move. Do not give your cell phone to the serial killer. Topaz checks Ellie's recent phone activity and sees Ellie solved the case. Topaz tries to kill Ellie with a tire iron. This happens during Mitch's promotion party. I'm surprised none of the guests notice there's an attempted murder happening on the porch. Topaz tries to start a fire, but Mitch stops her with a flying tackle. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book is on par with the others in the series. Maybe I've been reading too much of the Nancy Drew files recently, because I honestly think these books would be better if they were 100 pages shorter. Seeing Ellie go around town and have casual conversations with people is not that interesting. There are definitely some filler scenes that could be removed outright. Like, Ellie describes the plot of a movie for several pages, and Ellie gets upset with a rival mom who doesn't appear again. I like the solution to the Nash storyline that had a lot of small details which came together in a satisfying way. The solution to the Jodi mystery was much less satisfying. Nobody noticed Topaz was replaced with an imposter? Seriously? It also feels like a cheat that Ellie got the mystery solution thanks to a postcard. She could have done nothing before that point, and the end result would be the same. I think I would have liked it better if Scott had been the culprit. I'll give this book the same score I've been giving the other books in this series. I give Mom's Own number 4, Magnolias, Moonlight, and Murder a 5 out of 10.